Hello，你好，欢迎回来。Welcome back to not Wisdom Wednesday, but this is like a True History Thursday with Johnny Tiger and
Kitten.
Kitten. It's September 26th. Now, some people might be asking what happened to Toy Thursday. Well, to tell you guys the truth, is I haven't had the time to actually sit down with the action figure and uh, properly review it. I got the same toy vehicle sitting on my workstation for the past 2 months, and I haven't been able to finish taking photos of it. So it's it's just a time issue right now. A lot of things need to get done. Martial art, uh, art project, um, spending time together, and um, other things to take care of around the house. So just not possible to sit down with an action figure and do a toy review because those Toy Thursday videos, believe it or not, sometimes take 3 or 4 hours to do. So to do a Toy Thursday, I literally need to have like 4 hours uninterrupted time, and that's assuming nothing go wrong, like no glitches and stuff like that. So unfortunately, no Toy Thursday yet. Hopefully, one is coming up soon once I get all the photos I need for this toy vehicle. Then I'll do a quick review of it and do a slideshow at least. But for now, you guys still get your Soul Search Sunday and your Wisdom Wednesday and the occasional uh, self-defense videos and music video. But these don't take as long, uh, especially Wisdom Wednesday and Soul Search Sunday, where I can basically just plug in and talk. I don't need to. I mean, I need to do some research and study up on some stuff, but it's not too bad. Now, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this episode on Thursday rather than waiting until next Wednesday? Because this episode is starting to piss me off. I had this episode ready to go for the past three Wisdom Wednesdays, past 3 weeks like Wisdom Wednesdays, and every time I sit down and read the research notes and get ready to do this, I said to myself, today is the day. And then something would happen and I wouldn't be able to do it. So it's been bugging the shit out of me, having this sitting there and just like not get it done. So today I said, you know what, come hell or high water, I'm just going to get this out there so I can forget about it and move on. Um, 9 o'clock, almost 10 o'clock, Thursday night. So we are doing okay. Um, what are we going to be talking about today? We're going to talk about one of Kitten's favorite thing, which is perfume.
Ooh.
The kitten likes things that smell good. I mean, most people like things that smell good, but different people have different idea of what smell good. Uh, for example, I myself find like the vanilla scent a little bit obnoxious. I prefer the more faint, more light or citrusy kind of smell. Uh, what about kitten? What kind of scent does kitten like?
Uh, I I don't know. I just whatever strikes me as pleasant.
Pizza, cheeseburger, bacon frying.
Those smells? No.
Well, I don't know. I heard that there's actually it's like bacon scented air freshener. People can get that for their houses. Um, Apparently, some people really enjoy the smell of bacon and they like that. I don't know how I would feel that. Like I don't know how that would make me feel. But again, each to their own. So yeah, today we're talking about perfume and uh, quick Mandarin lesson in Chinese in Mandarin. Perfume is 香水. That's 香 Xiun and 水 Suae. 香 means smelling good, and 水 means water, liquid. The 香水 is that perfumey, delicious smelling liquid. That's Mandarin for perfume. Um, Generally, you can use that for cologne as well, but some people will call cologne 古龙水. Basically, 古龙 is just a direct translation from English to Mandarin of cologne. You take the tone, it says you sound cologne, and you say 古龙 shui, liquid. So some people will say use that for cologne, but generally speaking, you can just say 香水 for all of it. Now, in the ancient time, Chinese emperor for many dynasties, many generations, Chinese emperors have carried this personal cologne deodorant thing. And what it was is it's a block of waxy substance. So imagine like a stone or a piece of wax. Okay, it's usually grayish white in color, and this was the emperor's perfume. This was used by Chinese emperors throughout many generations, and this thing was called the dragon's tear. Those of you who are really uh, studied in the perfume market probably know what I'm talking about already. But keep with me. Those of you who don't know what the dragon's tear is, and we'll talk about it. Right? This dragon tear, by the way, still exists today. The story goes back to uh, this was something that found by a Chinese fisherman while out there fishing in the ocean, and he saw this blob of waxy rock thing just floating there, and he didn't know what it was, so he decided to bring it home just in case it's something valuable. Uh, in the beginning, this waxy substance, this blob, what looked almost black. It's like purplish black. It smelled awful. It smelled like dead fish, but it didn't look like any kind of fish. So the fisherman brought it home and kind of forgot about it because no one knew what it was, and he just had it sitting in his yard, in the one corner of his yard, and this thing just sit there and being exposed to the sun, to the wind, and few months later, this fisherman came across this thing in his yard, and oh yeah, this is where did I get this? Oh yeah, this was what I fished out of the ocean. But by now, it looked different. It's no longer that black purplish color. Now it's gray, almost white. And it doesn't smell like dead fish anymore. It actually smells fantastic. It has this godly scent that no, like he never smelled anything like it in his life. It didn't smell like women's perfume. It didn't smell like uh, anything that was made in China at the time. So this fisherman, like many people back then, when you found some treasure or something unique, what you would do is you would use it to bribe the local magistrate. You use it to as a gift to the local officials, hoping that maybe they would reward you handsomely with some gold or silver and stuff like that. So the fisherman brought this thing to the local magistrate and probably got a couple of silver coins for his trouble, which for him was great. This thing was just like a piece of rock, not doing anything, and now he could use it to trade for a couple of silver coins. Well, the local magistrate didn't know what this was either, so the local magistrate decided to send it to the imperial city to give it to the emperor. Now, the thing is, you couldn't just say, "Hey, Your Majesty, we found this in the ocean. We don't know what this is, but hey, have it. It's your birthday gift." No, yeah, you can't do that. Like anything you want to give to the emperor, have to go through a lot of uh, examinations. Like specialists, doctors, and scholars have to study it and make sure that it's not going to poison the emperor. Otherwise, what if you give the emperor something and it turn out to be radioactive? So, I mean, they didn't know about radioactivity back then, but still. Um, so, needless to say, this thing, this waxy rock thing, went through many, many hands, got studied by many, many scholars and doctors at the time before finally being presented to the emperor. And the emperor smelled it and, wow, what is this? Now, some of you might be wondering, okay, you've been talking about like how great it smells. What exactly does it smell like? Um, this dragon tear smells like kind of like burning incense with a hint of the ocean breeze. Okay, so if you guys have the ocean breeze air freshener, just imagine mixing that with a scent of like burning incense, like really high quality candle or incense, and you get a pretty good idea what that smells like. It's a really good natural smell uh, that couldn't be replicated at the time. We're talking about a couple thousand years ago. Um, so the emperor really loved it, and so he said, like, "What is this? What is it? Like, what is this wonderful, magical rock that you guys brought me?" Well, here is a thing about working for an emperor. You can't say I don't know. You 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 can't say, Your Majesty, we don't know what it is. Some fishermen found it and we decided you should have it. No, you can't do that because the emperor is going to say, well, I pay you guys a lot of gold and silver every year. If you don't know, then what good are you? I pay you guys money so you guys know shit. So the scholars decided to tell the emperor this came from a dragon because in Chinese mythology, dragon live in the ocean. Dragon Chinese dragon don't live in the cave and eat virgins and collect gold and silver and stuff like that. That's Western dragon. Chinese dragon live in the ocean. Uh, the rules of weather. They govern the storm and rain and stuff like that. So like Chinese dragon are more like godly. Actually have a function in uh, determining if it's going to rain or if it's going to be a storm or stuff like that. So since this thing was found in the ocean, the scholar decided to tell the emperor this was what happened when the dragon's tear congeals and hardens after so many years. And that makes the emperor very happy. Holy crap! I am carrying around something that's from a dragon. I mean, never mind dragon tear. You can tell him it's dragon shit, and he would be happy. Like if anything, well, the dragon was a big deal for the Chinese emperor because emperors were called the dragon's son. Like Chinese,
Oh.
yeah, like Chinese emperors, they were always claimed uh, they always have a kind of a divinity about them, um, because they claim to be the son of the either the Jade Emperor or the son of the dragon. So to for the emperor to actually carry a piece of the dragon with him, that was a big deal. That was like a sign from the gods that he was the proper emperor. So that's how this dragon's tear first started being used by Chinese emperor, and it's been carried by almost every emperor for 2,000 years. Uh, every generation. The dynasty may change, the time may change, the family of the emperor may change, but every emperor carried with them dragon's tear, and that was the official perfume of Chinese emperor. Uh, Now, uh, what is this? Actually, exactly like I said, this still exists today, so it's a real thing. So, what is this waxy rock thing that is so magical? The official name is ambergris. Ambergris. It's like Ambergris. You guys can go read up on that. And what is ambergris? Okay, ambergris is, well, to put it politely, the the uh, defecation from a sperm whale. Okay, uh, so when I say dragon shit, I wasn't really joking as much as it really is some kind of shit. Okay, ambergris come from the excretion from a sperm whale. How is this thing formed? Okay, sperm whale mostly eat giant squid and giant octopus. And those of you that have prepared squid and octopus know that even though most of the body is really soft, there's one hard piece on the squid and octopus that's the mouth. That's a beak part. Okay, there's a really hard beak, like a bird beak, on the squid and octopus. And usually when we prepare them for food, we would remove that. Obviously, you don't want like those things not digestible. Well, the poor sperm whale have no way to remove that. The sperm whale basically just swallow the entire squid and entire octopus. So after a while, these hard mouthpieces, hard beaks from these squid and octopus accumulate inside the intestine of the sperm whale, and it causes a lot of discomfort in the intestine, rubbing up against the stomach wall, intestine wall, and the sperm whale evolved this mucous membrane that their intestine will excrete to wrap around the beak and anything that they can't digest. So, um, to put it in simplified term, uh, though a lot of people know that pearl is sand that get into an oyster, and when the sand stimulates the oyster say, "Ow, that doesn't feel good," and the oyster excrete this sticky membrane wrap around the sand, and that eventually become pearl. Ambergris is exactly the same way. formed exactly the same way. Okay, this hard beak from the octopus and squid stimulate the stomach and intestine of the sperm whale. The sperm whale say, "Ow, that kind of feel bad, and I get a stomach ache." And the stomach excretes a sticky substance and wrap around the hard beak, and so the whale is not suffering.
And it
And
cleanses the whale's stomach.
yeah,
Okay, that makes sense.
yeah. So gradually, these uh, things get pooped out by the whale, and they harden in cold seawater and float to the top. And that's what ambergris is. When you first find it, when it's still kind of fresh, disgusting, it's kind of that purplish black thing. Smell like dead fish, of course, because it just came out of a whale. But once it's dry and it get hardened by sun and wind and have time to cure, then the color get lighter and lighter. It turn kind of pale and gray, and that's when it start to take on that perfumey, incense like ocean breeze smell. Today, uh, and I double checked before I made the video, on today's market, 1 ounce of ambergris is worth $1,000 US.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, and good news for those of you who want to make a quick buck is you can sometimes come across ambergris on the beach. Okay? They get washed on shore sometime. And so next time you guys go to the beach and find something that look like uh, gray waxy thing, might not be a bad idea to pick it up and take it home and double check, and see if you found ambergris. Because if you can find ambergris on the beach, that's like an instantaneous way of becoming a millionaire. Now you have to be very careful because sometimes what you find is not ambergris. Because I believe back in 2014, a lady in England went to the beach and found uh, a hard gray lumpy substance, and she took home. She thought she found ambergris, and she went online and asked people, how do I determine if this is real ambergris or not? And someone told her that the best way you can tell if it's ambergris is if you heat up a hot needle, like you put a needle on the flame, make it really hot, and you poke it into the ambergris and see what color it smokes. Like apparently that's how you determine if it's real ambergris or not. She did it, and unfortunately, what she found was actually a hand grenade left over from
Oh,
Second World War.
no.
Blew up her whole kitchen, almost killed her. So yeah, that was an ambergris. I mean, I am a little bit boggled. My mind's a bit boggled by that story because hand grenade has a very distinctive shape. How can you not know that uh, this is not natural? This is a man-made thing. Like I don't know. But I guess if it's a Second World War hand grenade that's been buried on the beach all this time, maybe it's deformed, maybe it's compressed and look weird. Uh, in the Middle Eastern country, people have been looking for ambergris for so much that they actually train the camels to look for ambergris. Uh, a lot of camels are trained so if they smell ambergris nearby, they will drop down to their knees and refuse to move. So for thousands of years, the Middle Easterners and uh, Arabic people have known about how valuable this whale poop is, and they train their camel to hunt for them. Chinese people have known about whales for a long time as well. as far back as 3,000 years ago, there have been records of whales in Chinese literature and Chinese writing. A piece of writing by Zhuangzi, the famous Chinese traveler and kind of like a Chinese version of Marco Polo, from thousands of years ago. Zhuangzi wrote about in the Eastern Ocean there are big fish, and this big fish they stretch for hundreds of miles. Now, obviously, Zhuangzi was exaggerating. There's no whales that go for hundreds of miles, but that's one instance where something like a whale was mentioned. Another traveler, sailor from 2,000 or so years ago, also wrote in his diary that his boat came around the reef, and that he said there was these giant demon fish in the ocean, and they must be demon because when he saw them, the entire ocean looked like it was covered in blood. Later, scholars have verified the person probably witnessed a whale giving birth, because when whales give birth, there's blood in the water, and you can see that from miles away. It look like the ocean is full of blood. So most likely that's what he saw. During the Tang Dynasty, there's also a magistrate that worked for a seaside town that wrote in his diary, and to almost use a direct translation for you guys, uh, his diary goes, last night the there was a storm, and the ocean was very rough. The sound of the waves sound like 1,000 drums beating against the shore, and there were demons in the ocean. I heard sound like 1,000 spirits crying. Now, if you guys have ever hear whale songs, imagine in a storm you hear that noise in the middle of the night. That probably very close to what he was talking about, right? Sound of 1,000 voices crying. And then he continued to say that this morning I went to check the damage done to the pier at the docks by the storm, and there's a huge giant fish laying on the sand. It's still alive, and it's so big that 20 people can't lift it. Later, it was recorded that that fish, which we can safely assume it was a beached whale, uh, was left there for 4 days before it died.
Oh,
Now, some people would say, well, that's so cruel. How come they didn't help the whale? Like, what happened to Free Willy? Like, when a whale is beached, they're supposed to help them. Well, that's how we feel today, you know. But 1,000, 2,000 years ago, number one, they didn't know what it was. Number two, they didn't know if it was dangerous. Number three, even if they wanted to help it, there's no way for them to help it. Like, they didn't have cranes, they didn't have the equipment to lift something like that. Like he said, 20 people couldn't lift it, so there's no way for them to help the poor thing other than just let it die. Um, so those are some early records of whales in Chinese literature. Also, if you look at the biography, the story of King Shi Wang, the emperor from Qing Dynasty, the guy who commissioned for the Great Wall to be built, at his later year, before he died, he went whale hunting. So this was 2,300 years ago. King Shiwen, at his old age, he went whale hunting. He had his warships outfitted with giant spears and uh, mechanical contraptions to fire these giant spears so he could kill the demon fish. And the reason was that the people that King Shiwan Emperor sent out to look for the Fountain of Youth told him that they couldn't get near the island that Fountain of Youth was on because it was guarded by some gigantic demon fish. So the emperor himself decided, okay, well, I am the emperor, so I can go kill this giant fish. So he outfitted his navy with these whale killing spears and went whale hunting. So that's another early examples of Chinese people having tangled with a whale in the early history. I'm going to end this episode by giving you guys a little folk tale. Uh, there's one Chinese beauty queen who was said to be the result of uh, the dragon tear. Right? Um, the story goes that back in the Han Dynasty, at the end of the Han Dynasty, one day, out of nowhere, two dragons uh, appeared in the palace, and everyone was scared, and everyone ran away. And then, just as quick as they appeared, the dragon disappeared. But they left behind this waxy substance. Now we know it's dragon tears, ambergris. Now, obviously, I don't know like how this happened, like the logic behind it, but the original story said two dragons appeared in the palace and left behind these dragon tears, and the emperor was told by a Taoist monk that these are sacred tears from the dragon. You must keep them safe inside a box. Whoever opened the box may face dire consequences. So the emperor had these dragon tears sealed away in a box, and that box was passed down from emperor to emperor, um, from the Han Dynasty down, and it wasn't until later that the box was opened by an emperor who was a little bit of a daring non-believer. Uh, uh, and the story goes that the moment the box was opened, a tiny little dragon, like the size of a lizard, imagine the one from Mulan, and you'll have a pretty good idea.
Mushu.
Kind of like Mushu, just come flying out of the box, and the all the people watching, there was a lot of the queens and chambermaids and working staff, the eunuchs. They, everyone screamed, and this little dragon leapt onto one of the maids and disappeared. Like it just like disappeared into her body, like it merged with her. Several years later, this maid became pregnant, and that made the emperor very angry because the emperor knew for a fact he did not sleep with her. So who whose child was it? Like she said she was still a virgin. Now we have a case of Virgin Mary going on here, but she was pregnant. So after she gave birth to a a cute infant girl, the emperor had her executed
Oh my gosh.
because he believed that she was lying about her purity, that she must have slept with someone, and he commanded for this baby girl to be taken out and drowned in the river.
Oh my gosh.
This baby girl luckily did not drown. When they threw her in the river, she got washed downstream, and then she got found by a fisherman and she was raised up to adulthood and turned into a beautiful, beautiful woman. And this beautiful woman later was selected by the next emperor to be his queen, and she turned out to be instrumental to the downfall of his dynasty. So many people say that uh, this queen, who ended the entire dynasty, was formed from the dragon's tear. And it's because that they opened the box that the dragon's tear was contained in, and the dragon turned into this infant girl. And then because the emperor killed her mom, as she came back for revenge. So that's our little story about dragon tears and some of the myths surrounding this substance, which is very real. And if you're lucky enough, you might find some on the beach. And if you do and become a millionaire, don't forget to sponsor our channel. Anyway, thank you for checking out today's episode, and we'll be back whenever we get time. For now, 谢谢 and
再见。
再见。